So like, Futurama, right? Commonly regarded as either one of the best and smartest adult animated sitcoms of all time, or regarded as a show that became awful after its first cancellation. While I do agree that the quality peaked with those first 4 seasons, yes, it's 4 seasons and Fox just majorly screwed up the airing order, look it up. I don't think the quality dropped that far after. Like, okay, there's a lot of episodes I don't care for at all after those seasons, but the highs are just as high, and when they really try, it comes through in some truly incredible and tightly written episodes and sequences. I am quite fond of this goofy, stupid genius show. But like, even I gotta admit, its continued survival is almost more interesting than the show itself. For those who are not in the know, Futurama got 4 initial seasons on Fox, which were split up into 5 broadcast seasons because Fox is stupid, I guess. They literally aired episodes like out of order, characters appear randomly, and then later you get their introduction episodes. It sucks. Anyway, the Fox era ended with the episode The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings, which was written as a series finale, which is quite rare for episodic cartoons like this. A few years later, Matt Groening and David X. Cohen decided they wanted to make 2 Futurama movies, and so they pitched 4 movies to Fox in the hope of negotiating it down to 2 that they actually wanted to do. So they bravely approached Fox and said, "Hey! We want 4 Futurama movies." And what did Fox say? Okay. So we got the movie era. 4 Futurama movies that were split up into 4 parts each. The 4th of these movies, Into the Wild Green Yonder, was also written as a potential series finale. And after this, the show was renewed for another season at Comedy Central. This season ended, of course, with another series finale, this one being Overclockwise, and after that, another renewal. So that renewed season ended with the episode Meanwhile, which would remain as the beloved series finale for the series as a whole. Until literally, like, last month, out of nowhere, 10 years after Meanwhile, we got another revival. The Hulu era, which consisted of 20 episodes. This run concluded with Otherwise, which, as I'm writing this opening, has not actually come out yet. It drops in a couple weeks. This video is very late, I'm sorry. I'm very excited to see it, though. We know Otherwise is once again being written as a potential series finale, meaning this show now has 5 series finales. 5 endings! With a 6th on the way, because oh look at that, Hulu renewed the show for 2 more seasons. Instead of waiting 2 years for that to release, I want to honor this legendary show's most recent ending, and discuss the 5 finales of Futurama, ranking them from worst to best. We'll be ranking them off of how satisfying they are as a finale, and while of course the quality of the episode itself is very important, it's really gonna come down to how well I like it as an ending to the show as a whole. Let's jump into it, shall we? Starting with...
We shall sing top hits from the 80s.
Which 80s, sir?
For me, there are only one 80s. Smell like I sound, I'm lost and I'm found, and I'm hungry like the wolf.
Into the Wild Green Yonder is... not good, like, at all. Out of the 4 Futurama movies we got, I think the only one I really like is the first one, Bender's Big Score. It feels the most like the Futurama movie! The others are all paced really poorly and have weak plots and usually feel very disjointed, and this one isn't the worst in that regard, see Bender's Game. But wow, the pacing and certain decisions may just really screw up the potential I see with this story. I mean, it's decent. I had a few laughs, there's some decent emotional beats, but like, I don't know, man. This thing is all over the place. Now, obviously, this movie is split up into 4 episodes, but you can really tell the first episode is just like a regular episode. And it's pretty good, but once we get to the actual plot with the Legion of Mad Fellows and the Feministas and the Dark One, is just kind of... I don't know, it's kind of boring. I love the concept of the evolving planet and the payoff is fantastic. Mostly, the whole threat with the Dark Ones is such an obvious reveal, and they really had me going for the 10 seconds where they make you think that Fry himself is the Dark One. I was like, oh shoot, I didn't see that one coming. And then it immediately turns out it was fake and not the actual thing, and the actual twist villain reveal is really weak. And speaking of weak villains, Leo Wong has to be the worst choice for a final villain they could have possibly chosen. It is incredible how literally every other antagonist in this entire show is more entertaining. I can see a version of this movie where Zap is the villain, or Mom, or heck, even the Donbot. He's the villain of the first 20-minute episode. Why not have him be behind the scheme? And like, every every one of these scenarios, it's just more fun. Leo is an extremely annoying antagonist, and his stereotypical accent doesn't really help matters. He sucks. Frida Waterfall is a pretty funny character, but her joke gets really old after a while. Most of the characters have that issue. They'd be fine in a 20-minute episode, not an hour-plus film. There's just way too much exposition as well. Every joke with the feministas boils down to, women, am I right? It's just not a very funny movie overall, and the comedic highlights don't make up for that. I do like that ending moment, though, with the countdown mirroring the beginning. That's really cool. Yeah, I don't know. Despite this being the longest of any of these finales, I've already run out of things I want to say about it. The longer I think about it, the less I like it. Let's move on to the good stuff.
Stay strong, Fry.
You're the best friend I had left. And I barely even know you.
Have you thought about asking Bender for help?
What are you, Randy, a complete moron?
Overclockwise is kind of a weird one. While it was written as a possible series finale, there was never even a moment where it was the actual finale, as the show got another season immediately. As such, this is definitely the black sheep of the Futurama finales. The only one that I feel like most people wouldn't really even know that this was meant to be a finale on their first viewing. I mean, I sure didn't. That being said, rewatching it with that context, I really appreciate a lot of things they do. Ironically, I feel like this seriously could have benefited by being a bit longer. Why couldn't this plot be the movie? It does do a good job, probably the best job out of all of these, balancing character screen time for the secondary cast. Hermes, Amy, Zoidberg, they all get their little moments, but in spite of that, I feel like this episode just has a little bit too much going on for the time. Bender's processor is overclocked, turning him into a genius. So Mom gets Farnsworth and Cupert thrown in jail and put on trial as the ones responsible. But on top of that, this also has Fry and Leela's romance reach a potential breaking point.
Fry, can we talk about our relationship?
Of course. Our relationship is the best thing in my life, so I'm sure I'll enjoy talking about it with you.
That's 3 plot lines, and all of them are great ideas for a finale, and they do work well together decently, but there's just not enough breathing room, not enough quiet moments with the cast. I will say, it's a pretty funny episode. Lots of good lines, and the emotional moments really work for me. We'll talk about the ending momentarily, but a moment that gets me is when Fry asks God Bender if he and Leela can be happy together, and Bender just takes a moment to think about it, and you just see his face fall in disappointment.
Well, what about Leela? Is there any hope things could still work out between us?
It's so effective. In general, I adore a lot of the visuals with God Bender. I think this is the best looking regular episode of the Comedy Central era. Some great shots and lighting. Also notice they punched up a lot of the expressions. Like, look at this stuff with Mom in the car. I love these faces. Fry and Bender's journeys in this episode are very interesting, if a bit too fast paced. God Bender's one of the most interesting things they've done with him. Fry's post-breakup depression is as funny as it is genuinely sad.
I'm gonna go kill myself.
So, okay, the pacing is off, but I seem very positive otherwise. So, is there another major issue that keeps this from being higher? Where's Leela? Leela's the second most important character in the show, and she's just absent for most of this episode, which sucks a lot when the emotional center is Fry having a crisis about the relationship. But like, yeah, Leela leaves to pursue a new career, and we don't see her again until the ending, after everything's already resolved. I don't like that at all. I just wish we got to see Leela actually pursue her career. Imagine this as a 44-minute special, or a TV movie, if you will, where we see Fry and Leela's new lives without each other parallel. Maybe Leela finds a ton of success but isn't happy without Fry, and Fry is just going down this depression spiral. I don't know. The ending beat itself, in isolation, might be my favorite in the series. Fry and Leela just reading their futures. It's very sweet, there's no dialogue, and it gives me such a warm, wholesome feeling. The missed potential for this episode hurts to me personally because I feel like it could have been, like, with just a little more time, the best of the entire show. But it's much better than Into the Wild Green Yonder, and I think it should be talked about more. Let's move on.
She saw us through lots of great adventures.
And a few mediocre ones.
Honestly, some of those 3-part adventures were kinda sloppy.
Hey there, me from the future here. So I wrote this segment after the rest of the video as I had to wait for the release of this episode. So, Otherwise, the newest series finale. This is about where I figured it would rank, just judging from the Hulu era in general. The first run with no bad episodes at all, by the way. I mean, yeah, it was only 20, but the worst of this run was just unremarkable. I know we're getting 20 more episodes, so this isn't really gonna be the finale for too long, but for the time being, it is that. So let's discuss. Fry starts getting these visions of events that were wiped from canon via time travel manipulation and starts affecting his plans with Leela. Right off the bat, I do love how finale this one feels right from the start with the funeral for the ship. I live for these finale moments with all the characters looking sad and walking through a bunch of empty rooms. It's corny, but I love it. Fry's first deja vu attack is genuinely a really strong hook moment, and it transitions smoothly into the rest of the episode. From here on out, the pacing of this episode is really perfect. Like, every scene matters to some extent, and if it doesn't, it's Bender fighting the can opener, and it's funny, so frankly, I'll take it. I also really like that Fry has, like, matured emotionally. He's not as whiny anymore. He's still a stupid idiot who's goofy, but, like, in a slightly sage way.
Bender, life can go in a lot of directions. Up, left, community college, but I know exactly which direction I want mine to go. So tonight at sunset, I'm meeting Leela on top of the Vampire State Building. I'm gonna ask her to marry me.
Everyone else had a lot of fun moments, including one of my favorite characters, Zap Brannigan, who gets to be the antagonist of the episode, and it's perfect. I love everything to do with Zap. He's so funny. The episode's climax is so heartfelt. I love this finale to the finale. And while the last twist is maybe a smidge wonky in execution, I just think, you know, the exposition is a little rough, it still ends up on a really nice ending beat. They always manage to do those. The highlight of the episode is, spoilers obviously, the Fry and Leela wedding, a moment that I wanted to properly hear and see for so long. I love that Zap officiates it too. That was a funny touch, and the kiss is lovely. The Hulu era was entirely worth it for this. I mean, to be fair, the Hulu era has been really good, as I mentioned, but like, this is just a perfect moment. Overall, another great installment in the Futurama finales. I don't really have any major issues with it. Let's get to the true masterpieces, by the way. So the top 2 segments were written before otherwise released, so I might reference it as an episode that has yet to exist a couple times, so enjoy.
Now, if you'll excuse me, it's my poker night and I feel lucky. So it's back to hell for me. Come on, Nixon.
The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings is definitely one of my favorite episodes of the entire show. As the first series finale, it stands as my favorite if we're judging solely on how good an episode it is, because, wow, is this a good episode? All the jokes really land, it's paced perfectly, and I love the Robot Devil as a villain. I wish they'd use him more. This is his standout episode, and by golly, does he just have one of my favorite vocal performances in the whole thing. He also delivers one of, if not my favorite joke in all of Futurama.
Your lyrics lack subtlety. You can't just have your characters announce how they feel. That makes me feel angry!
Fry's quest to woo Leela really is the main plot thread throughout the whole show. It's their go-to emotional core, and their relationship is the emotional core of every single one of these finales, actually. Fry wants to learn this cool future instrument called the holophoner to impress Leela, and makes a deal with the Robot Devil, which results in them swapping hands. We then see Fry excel at the holophoner, while the Robot Devil is just really upset and enacts an overly complicated evil plan to get his hands back. It really is just kind of a regular episode, but it all builds up to this excellent finale with Fry's opera. I love the big musical climax, with this song being one of my favorite sequences in the whole show. Just expert stuff. The boarding, the posing, it's top notch. This might be the single best looking episode of Futurama. So here's where my main issue comes in. And this issue really only matters because it is a series finale. There's a very few spotlight moments for like most of the cast. Farnsworth doesn't even speak until the climax, I think. Amy gets like 3 lines, Hermes gets 1 line, and it's a weed joke. And Zoidberg actually does get a decent amount of gags, and like, good job, sure. And yes, Fry, Leela, and Bender do have ample screen time. They're the main characters, so it's fine. I just personally think that holds it back from being perfect as a finale. Like, Farnsworth is the funniest character on the entire show, and you gave him nothing in this episode. Not a huge problem, but it kinda holds it back for me on this finale ranking. Otherwise, by golly, it is just so great. One of the best episodes of the show. That ending line is undeniably impactful, and I love the note this leaves Fry and Leela on. Such a perfect ending beat. It's amazing that 3 of the 4 finales that exist at the time I'm writing this just have incredible endings. Definitely my favorite episode of any of these, but it's very clear what the best finale is. Come now.
What do you say? Want to go around again?
I do.
Meanwhile was the series finale for 10 years, and I think it's one of the best series finales that exists, especially for a sitcom like this. Now, as of me writing this, the most recent finale otherwise has not released yet. I'd love to be shocked and for it to dominate this list and be my all-time favorite, but like, I don't think that's gonna happen because like, it's Meanwhile. There's something so cool about a show reaching its end and just going, hey, this is the last one. Let's take a moment. In this episode, Fry proposes to Leela, and the two get stuck in a time loop with Fry repeatedly falling to his death, eventually accidentally freezing time, and living their lives together in the frozen world. And the whole thing just screams ending, it's over, and honestly, I love that. It feels so special. It is maybe a bit too heartstring tuggy, maybe a bit too overt with its emotion, but like, who cares? It works. I love every beat of this thing. It's paced perfectly, and while it's a little bit less funny than your average episode, it has the sentimentality and emotion that you want out of an ending. The montage of Fry and Leela growing old together is so great. It really hit me after watching the entire show over the course of a year. If I had to nitpick anything about this episode, it's that I sorta take issue with them losing their memories at the end. Kinda wish Fry and Leela remembered all this. I don't know, not a huge deal though. In retrospect, this is actually fine because Otherwise acknowledges this and does something really cool with it, but whatever. I didn't know that when I wrote this. Sorry. That is not even an issue anymore, okay. And it leads to a very perfect final line, and while I do think I prefer the ending beats of Overclockwise and Devil's Hands, it's still so good. I love the sense of finality that this episode brings. Not to mention, hey, that's the secondary characters doing things. Awesome. Also, I don't know where else to put this, but this line is insane. This is so fun. Like, what?
I landed on it and time froze. I tried to fix it once, but then I got mad and hit it some more. I guess it's good we didn't have children.
Typical unscripted segment time, whoa. So those were Futurama's finales. What a cool show. Haha, crazy. My next video will probably be the Moana 2 review that I promised, so look forward to that. Then I got a Toy Story video I'm cooking, and after that, who knows? I want to do more voice acting things. That's probably going to be a major focus of the channel moving forward. I still want to do these analytical videos, obviously, and these rankings. They're very fun. But yeah, that'll probably be a bigger focus moving forward. I am aware Bob's Season 15 started. I'm not reviewing every episode again. I was not satisfied with most of those videos, and the Rudy video, well, it's fine. I can't believe that's my most viewed video. Like, what? So yeah, I'm not going to review them episode by episode. I will obviously rank the season when it's done. I know there's a few episodes of Season 14 they released late that I can't put, like, in my ranking, because the ranking video I made before they came out, the schedule's out of whack. But anyway, I'll probably do something to get that situated after I do the Moana and Toy Story videos, because those are what well, Toy Story especially is what I really want to do right now, but Moana, I will review. I work at a movie theater now, so I get it for free. I get free movies, so I'll watch it for free. Recommendation, if you're a cinephile, work at a movie theater. You get everything for free. I've watched a few movies for free. And maybe I will talk about them at the end of the year. I'll make a video about movies I watched on the job, so look forward to that, maybe. I might not make it, I don't know. Okay, I think that's it. Bye, everybody. Thank you for watching this video, and sorry it took so long. I am busy because of job. Woo!